Well, hello everybody. This is Daniel with Daniel's Bullion Coins. I have my sweet wife Ingrid here.
Good morning.
Good morning to
Good morning. Good
everybody.
morning.
We're getting
Oh,
started.
yeah, we're getting started this morning.
Yes,
Sorry.
we are. We just do this all in one shoot.
Okay, let me ask you about the weekend review. What
Oh,
did you
let's do the weekend
see?
review. Yes.
I worked
So
one day,
the
but you worked most of the
yeah, I
days.
worked a lot this week,
Yeah.
and the sellers have really slowed way down. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's the end of summer, school's getting started, but really the sellers have slowed way down, which tells me that the price should start going up now.
Yeah.
We've cleared out the sellers, and we should start to see momentum going forward from here.
Right. And
It's
then,
funny, I was buying some gold from a young lady, and I was using Kitco, the spot price, which
yeah.
is your current price right now, today, at that moment. And she had pulled up the futures, gold
Oh,
futures,
really?
and it was funny, it was $100 higher. And
Oh,
I was like really shocked. I said, "Oh my gosh,
wow.
what in the world is the difference?" And we'll get into that. There was a
Okay, I want to
lot going
ask you
on
about
this week.
that.
Yeah, a lot going on this week. So yeah, the sellers are slowing down, and the buyers are starting to come in. So I'm predicting certainly this month we should get above 3,500 on gold and see $42 silver this month, and maybe
Whoa.
even start to see
This month.
some this month, yeah, and maybe even start to see some touching a little bit higher, a dollar or two higher than that. So I think
Wow.
things are going to start going since the sellers have cleared out.
Yeah. And what that means for the miners now.
Oh, the miners is a
What's
good
going up with
sign
that?
this week
Yeah.
that they have started to really accelerate in value. The inflationary
Yeah.
trends and the value of the miners is really starting to go.
Right. Okay. And then also we saw a new Fed governor
That's right.
possibly being taught,
Yes.
brought
Steve
in.
something is his name. So they put a new guy in, and he has written a lot of articles. So there's a lot of material out there to see what kind of guy this is. And he's an end the Fed guy.
Yeah.
He's a weaker dollar guy.
Wow.
So you see, Trump is it's like a car being pushed down the road,
Yeah.
and he's got people that are pushing in the direction that he wants to go. Weaker dollar, end the Fed. We may see, we hear end the Fed, but really, I think Trump is going to merge the Fed with the Treasury and then
Yeah.
eventually phase out the Fed.
Wow.
Especially, we're going to talk about the revaluation and revaluing gold. So that's the direction that he's
Yeah.
going, and he picked a governor who probably will be the next Fed chairman. Will take us
Wow.
to lower interest rates and weaker dollar scenario,
And when
which
you
is higher gold.
yeah, and when you say weaker dollar, just for the newbies, that
Mm-hmm.
means weaker in relation to other
Exactly.
currencies.
Yes. Weaker is it's a poor expression to say weaker, but lower in comparison, or the best horse at the glue factory scenario. You're just comparing it to other currencies. They're
Uh-huh.
all going down in value. Okay, so you've got that. The value
Yeah.
of them are going down. Then you've got the Dixie, which is the DXY,
DXY.
which is comparing the value of them. And then you've got the fact that it's a debt instrument, and so it's got interest that's accruing on it constantly. So when you're looking at purchasing something, property or investment, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
That the Dixie is just a value of it going down with others, and it's going down in value, but it's also a debt instrument. So you owe interest on that money at the same time.
Oh
Three
my
ways you need to look
goodness.
at your currency.
That is just, it's all, you got that all down really good.
Oh, rewind, listen to it
I know,
again because it's good.
I know, my goodness. Okay, we were going to talk, it leads into what we were going to ask
Sure.
about, explain the purchasing power of the dollar.
Yes. So, for
You had
example, let's
touched on
just
it.
use a fun little example. If you go out and buy 2 hamburger meals today, it's going to cost you about $40. Well,
Right,
10 years from now, easily, because of that debt instrument and the
right.
value of the dollar going down in comparison to other currencies, also, that 2 hamburger meal is going to be at least $80, could
Oh
be
my
$100, could be
goodness.
$200 the way the dollar is headed. Well, today you can buy an ounce of silver for $40, and you're actually purchasing those 2 hamburgers in the future, because you'll be able to sell that silver coin
Right.
for whatever 2 hamburger meals are. If they're $80 or $100, that 1 ounce of silver will be like a coupon towards a meal in the future.
Yeah.
So you're preserving your purchasing power. And this is a good place to
Wow.
talk about the insurance. It gives you
Yes.
insurance and protection against a collapsing dollar. It is
Right.
not an investment.
Right.
And we're not investment advisors. We're just giving our opinion.
Our
But I
opinion.
have a young fella that comes
Yeah.
in, and he's buying copper, buying silver, but then just a couple of weeks later, he's ready to sell it. And he just doesn't understand that there's a huge spread between what it sells for and what we can afford to buy it back. Especially like copper, you buy a roll of copper and you take it home and you handle it, and it's got fingerprints. Same with silver.
It really shows up more.
It
The
really
copper
shows up on the
does.
copper. Shows
Yeah.
up on the silver too. You take it out of the
Right.
roll, you're looking at it, you're dropping it, and you're putting it back in. You bring it back to resell it to us. Those are hits on it,
Yeah.
literally hits on it, that devalue it. Plus,
Yeah.
the margin is
Yeah.
huge when we have to factor in what the wholesaler is going to pay us, and people are shocked. Oh, you're making $5 or $3 off of me, you know. And the reality is that that's the system. So
Yeah.
don't get caught by it. Use it as a long-term insurance and as a coupon for meals in the future.
That's a good way of saying. And we were gonna talk about how people who listen and those who don't.
Oh, yes, yes.
So
yes.
we're telling
It's-
you, go ahead
Yes, it's so
now.
funny here
Oh
at the
my
shop
gosh.
when people come in and they start, maybe they'll ask 1 or 2 questions, and I'll start to talk to them and start to explain, and almost like a light going off, I can tell they're not listening.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, it's usually the poorer people that don't listen. And it's people who have money or they're earning money that listen and ask questions and expand their mind. So typically the people who watch YouTube videos are smart,
And they're
up and coming
listening.
people.
Yeah.
If not, please try to listen, try to take in the information and try to understand, listen to, and find people who are intelligent. I'm
Yeah.
looking for people that are intelligent when they come in here. I'm trying to glean information from them.
Yeah.
So be a gleaner of information, be able to listen and communicate, and it'll help you in the future.
Yeah.
I can just see that from people coming in
Yeah,
here.
we can. It's our observation. It's really telling, isn't it?
It is telling. It really is telling.
I was going to ask you about the reevaluation of gold. What do you think that's?
Okay.
Do you think that's some? We Trump has talked about it.
Yes, yes.
And-
Revaluing, Scott Bassett and Trump both, when they started introducing themselves,
Yeah.
once they had won the election, they started talking about revaluing gold. And in my opinion, if we revalue gold, and there's been talks of 10,000, 15,000, even some wild numbers, 40, 50,000. But if Trump
That's crazy.
revalues even to
Yeah.
5,000, we go from 3,500 to 5,000, I think the sellers will come out of the woodwork
I
to
know,
sell.
yeah.
And it'll be an FDR situation all over again, where people are going to be selling gold for fiat currency, which then the fiat currency is
It's
going to
just keep
devalue
going,
really
yeah.
quickly, and they're going to lose their purchasing power.
Yeah.
So be wary of that. Yes, you may need to sell a little bit to maybe pay off some debt or purchase some things, get some renovations done or whatever. But remember that they're probably going to devalue. They will be devaluing the dollar. They've already said that. And they're putting the Fed chair, the governor in place right now that's going to be doing that. And he's written articles and papers and talked about that. That with the situation we're in, the only option is, well, there's 2 options. What we're talking today about is devaluing the dollar down. So in other words, cutting in half, increasing the price of things.
Yeah.
And the way to protect yourself is with commodities.
Do you think, this is off the cuff, do you think President Trump will confiscate gold?
I don't think that there will be an actual confiscation during the Trump administration.
Right.
But one of the questions that was asked to Trump one time is, what about administrations after you?
him,
Where are things going to go after you? And that's very critical, and
It
was one of the
is.
best questions I've ever heard a reporter ask him. because are you taking that into consideration and
Right.
looking at the way you're setting things up? I
Right.
look at the way Reagan, we as Republicans and conservatives, we really like Reagan, but he did a lot of things that continued the ball rolling
Yeah.
in the
Was used in a negative, in a
yes,
bad
the nanny
way.
state,
Yeah.
really got more established
Right.
through some of the things that Reagan did. And I understand the Democrats were pressuring him, and it was a give and take thing. And
Right.
he was giving concessions to the Democrats, but those things have led to more and more
Yeah.
problems as we went along. So with the Trump administration, hey, the reporter is saying, what protections can you put in place that
Right.
digital currency isn't going to lead to the mark of the beast or something like
Exactly.
that? That's an extreme, but that's an
It
example.
is. I mean, it's all being set up for that.
It
I
is.
mean,
It is going that
we
way,
know
obviously.
biblically that's where it's going.
Yeah,
so.
obviously we know that that's where it's going, and you need to be thinking about that a little bit, and be prepared for at
Right.
what point are you going to say that's not for me.
Right. So the most important thing is to get right with the Lord. That's
Yes.
for sure. Oh my. Okay.
Yes. Have your
So
card punched.
yeah. What about the 4-week treasure bills? We've seen that. That's been a
Yes.
real big.
That's been a big thing this week. That's a week in
Yeah.
review kind of thing, I guess. Scott
Oh.
Bessett came out with the largest numerical for Treasury renewal, and he did it for the short amount of time in history. Never through COVID
crazy.
and anything you can think of. We've been through 9/11, all these things that we've been through. We've never had this much issuance of treasuries that we
Yeah.
are right now, and the term being so short. Now remember, these are treasury, which means it's the government getting the money.
Yeah.
And they're bills, which means that it's 0 to 2
Short-term,
years,
yeah.
and then notes are 2 years to 10 years, and then bonds are 10 years and above.
Right.
So these are treasury bills that Scott Bessent is issuing at 4 weeks. And remember, when he was nominated, or he was being talked about,
yeah.
he was real critical of Janet Yellen and how much short-term
Yeah.
notes they were doing. And keep in mind, 12 trillion of the Biden administration, Janet Yellen's treasury bills
Right.
come due next year. Wow. That's why Trump
12
is trying
trillion.
so hard by this fall to get another Fed chairman in, because we need to start lowering those interest rates now in order to set us up to where when we renew those, we can do it without this high interest rate. And the interest rate is like a self-imposed affliction on us, because we're the greatest economic powerhouse. We don't have to have the interest rates that high. We can have it at
Right.
0. And so we're self-imposing that, and it's
Yes.
political. We've talked
It
about
is.
how it's all
It is.
political
Yeah.
to bring down the Trump administration. So keep that in mind,
Yeah.
that where we're headed on that.
That is really good. I was going to ask you too about Switzerland. The SWIFT tariffs.
Oh yes,
are
yes.
back
So
this
this has been in the news. I think
What
at
in the
Thursday,
world?
Friday, it came out that the FT, which is not a friend of gold or silver at all, sort of like our CNN here in the
Oh,
U.S.
okay.
It's the English version of the fake
FT.
news
Huh.
kind of thing. And they, Financial Times.
Financial Times. That's right.
Yes, and they have come out with an article this week that Trump administration was putting, I think, 39 or 49% tariffs on Switzerland,
Ow.
including the refined gold.
Oh.
And because that was really critical, it almost is controlling the
The gold
currency
market.
situation.
Yeah.
Because if you say that Switzerland, the number one provider of metric kilo gold refined to the 4.9s, which is the next international standard that they're going to use, it would severely hamper the dollar, because it would strengthen the Swiss and the BRICS nations and all that. So it was a blow, a chink in the armor when this article came out. Come to find out, it was just some border guy that wrote and said that, yes, some border guy was, in his opinion, was putting tariffs on gold. So kind of a fake news story that the FT picked up and ran with. And so, but ultimately, I think Trump administration probably sometime this weekend, Sunday or Monday, they'll come out with a correction and they'll say, well, we're not doing that on silver, we're not doing that on gold,
Yeah.
because it attacks the dollar.
Yeah, it
so
was
the FT was
severely.
really attacking the dollar, and trying to push the dollar over by saying, hey, you're losing gold
Right.
because you're tariffing Switzerland. Because Trump is having trouble with Switzerland and getting them to rescind
Come
some
on
of their
board.
tariffs that they have in place right now.
Wow, because Swiss, they don't actually dig up gold, but they refine it.
Yes, that's
at their
right.
place.
That's right.
So
They just refine
a
it.
lot of it goes through
Yeah,
Switzerland.
a lot of it. They're the major gold refiner for the world,
Yeah.
and they're the ones that have the ability to get the 4.9s and these kilo bars that banks and
banks,
nations
the
and
big-
things use. And they're the ones, that are providing it to the LBMA, which we've talked about how the LBMA is
Been
being
empty.
drained because we're bringing home gold to the U.S. And I think it's the government that
Yeah.
Trump is
They're
having.
trying to fill Fort Knox.
Right,
again.
trying to rehypothecate
Okay.
the Fort Knox.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, lots
A
of
lot's
lots of
going
good
on.
stuff.
My
Well,
goodness,
that
darling.
was a
Thank
good
you.
video for this week. We want to bless
Yes.
everybody and see you next week.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye bye.